In at 10, animatronics. We can joke all we want about how Afton has a hardcore bloodlust in this series, but his desire for human destruction has been there since the start. Thanks to the fast facts found in FNAF AR's files, we learned that the Funtime robots, the ones used in Sister Location, were actually some of the first robots Afton ever made. Not exactly the first, but among the first. And that they were built with special containment chambers inside to store away items, which we all know is code for children's storage tanks, which we see the Funtimes actually have in their blueprints from FNAF 6. So this means that Afton has been wanting to kill kids since before his kids had died. Hell, even maybe before his kids were born, depending on the timeline. Which at this point is as simple as my feelings for Vanessa, which is not simple at all. If anyone cosplays Vanessa, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. Possibly killed wife. This hasn't been confirmed as of yet, so it's currently not canon. Many people still consider William Afton offing his wife to be the story of her demise, even though technically we know nothing about her, and she could still be alive for all we know. Many people consider her to have died in either a car crash or because William killed her, and those are the most common thoughts on the matter. Although the her dying in a car accident thing came from a FNAF original music video that was probably using Minecraft characters that is in no way canon to the series. I've had people yell at me in my DMs telling me that it's canon that she died in a car accident, but no, it's not. It's not even canon that she died, really, but the potential is still there that William was the reason she kicked the animatronic parts filled bucket. Since it's only a possibility though, it's only number 9. If it gets confirmed, I'm more than willing to bump it up higher, because statistically speaking, your spouse is the person most likely to kill you, so she should have been on her guard. And it ain't missing children's incident. I mean, this is a fairly low-hanging fruit since it's the inciting moment for the whole series, but I think it's worth calling out at least number 8. The missing children's incident, in case you forgot, is the infamous incident where 5 kids go missing inside of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and are never seen again. Police investigated but were never able to find the bodies, thus they had to let their suspect, in this case William Afton, go due to a lack of evidence. However, this is one of the most horrifically painful moments that you can think of, especially if you're a parent yourself. 5 families went into Freddy Fazbear's wanting their kids to have the time of their lives in 1985, but left without their favorite people. They had the time of their lives, alright. It just so happened to also be the end of their lives. And not only that, but Afton ends up getting away with it since the police were terrible at their jobs or were getting paid off. Still not sure which one is the case in this series, but the missing children's incident is one of the most messed up things to ever happen in this series, but without it we wouldn't have the series. At least it's all fake, right? And at 7, kills her brother. Or at least tries to. You see, since we play as Michael in every game of the original series with the exception of FNAF 4 and 7, Michael is the one in danger. And since Baby's after us as the player in FNAFs 5 and 6, she is legit trying to kill her brother. Especially in FNAF 6, holy damn. And she does so in such a menacing way. Being able to absolutely slaughter your brother without a moment's thought is probably one of the most messed up things Baby could have done. But if we're being honest at this point, she was kinda nuts at that point, so I think that it's better to put this higher on the list. Honestly thinking about this, in the 5th game she wasn't really trying to kill him, just get inside him. Which sounds awful now that I say it out loud. Oh my god, what the flying f are these games? But in Pizzeria Simulator, she definitely wanted to kill you. And during her final speech, she even thinks that it's what her father would want. So needless to say, she's pretty out of it at this point, which makes it slightly more forgiving, but not so much. And at 6, lied about Remnant. Now, this isn't confirmed, much like the fact that he possibly killed his wife. However, this seems like the most likely explanation to me. So if you want a full explanation as to why I think Afton was the one who lied about Remnant, go check out that video linked up in the iCard. But I'm going to wrap this up quickly here. Basically, there have been 3 fires so far that were meant to finish off William Afton, and none of them have worked. The reason Henry tried fire was because that's supposed to be the thing that can burn off Remnant. However, Remnant can also be found in liquid form, so how can it be molten but also be burnt by fire? It makes more sense that William made up the lie that he could be killed by fire, so Henry would keep trying and failing to kill him, so he wouldn't have to worry about actually dying, since literally every time he's been caught in a fire, he has survived. And the other animatronics infused with Remnant also survived, like Baby, the puppet, and entered in FNAF 6, as we see from the Blob in Security Breach. Halfway through in number 5, Security Room. And now locking us in a security room while we're trespassing and waiting for the cops is one thing. Doing that, saying you're calling the cops and then not calling them is something else. And on top of that, changing into your serial killer persona and then coming after me while I try to escape with the very clear present on the ground is another thing. But some say we can't fault Vanessa on this because she ends up losing control to Afton and it's not her fault. Actually, you know what? It is. As we talked about earlier in number 9, Vanessa knows that Afton is controlling her. Well, maybe not exactly, but she knows that someone else is in her head and that they don't have good intentions. And she knows that she's blacking out. Like, how could you not know that you were blacking out? We know she knows this thanks to the CDs where she talks about how he could be always listening and that she doesn't know where he could be. She knows about this whole thing, yet still locks us in a room where her psychotic double can then find and kill us? Bro, come on. Why would you think that that's a good idea? Just like literally kick us out next time. And at 4 later that night. The Midnight Motorist minigame seems simple enough, but the true horror of this minigame comes from the implications of it. Since in the game files, the minigame is known as Later That Night. Most people akin the game to what happened after William kills Charlotte outside Fredbear's Family Diner in FNAF 2's Take Cake minigame. But if this is true, this is probably one of the scariest moments in all of FNAF history. This man just killed someone, but then goes home to his kids, reprimands his son and abuses him by locking him in his room so much that he had to break his window to escape. Plus, think of all the people driving past him, unaware of the violent crime that he had just committed. It's scary because this is the case in the real world too. Technically speaking, anyone we encounter can be a serial killer. And that is a horrific thought, since also you're only alive because everyone you've ever encountered has chosen not to kill you, which only makes the whole anyone could be a serial killer thing even worse. And in this case, this man literally just killed someone and then comes home and is going to yell at his son who's been in his room all day. Like, god damn, bro, how much residual anger do you have suppressed inside your body? Getting close to the end, and in number 3, impersonation. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Especially not when it's an animatronic impersonating a kid. Yep, that's right, ya heard correctly. Baby in the FNAF novels ends up impersonating Charlie, but not teen Charlie. Nope, instead she ends up impersonating adult Charlie, because the books weren't complicated enough already. Basically, in the novels, Baby has the ability to change between a realistic looking human and her normal circus baby look. She can do this thanks to the pin structures covering her body. No idea how that helps her go from a 7-foot tall animatronic to a 5'9" woman, but oh well. Anyways, for some reason, Baby and Charlie's adult robot versions are the same robot. It's unclear why. Since Henry made a series of 4 robots for Charlie after Afton killed her in 1983, which doesn't make sense given what we know about the timeline already, but I guess it would have to be different in the books, because at that point, Elizabeth would have already been killed by an already created baby animatronic, meaning that Henry would have made the first 3 robots from scratch, but thought, nah, I'll turn the adult one into a human from this robot here, and it just so happened to be Elizabeth Afton's possessed bot. But honestly, there are a whole load of plot holes in the books, so we'll just ignore it. We'll push it to the side, you know? Either way, identity theft isn't cool. And boy, don't I know it. My dad removes the labels off of any mail we get and he shreds it, okay? He even made us rip our names off of papers when it has our names on it. Like, even if it's schoolwork and it just had my first name or whatever it was, so that he would make us rip it off, rip that corner off so that people couldn't steal our identity. And now my name is just out there on the internet for everyone to see. So, you're welcome, Dad. Did anyone else's parents do that, or was it just the fact that my dad is the crazy paranoid uncle? Penultimately, in at number 2, first victim. They say a killer's first victim is the most important, since it usually indicates what got them to start killing or other psychological clues that they could use to predict his next moves. But in the case of William Afton, his first victim was the daughter of his longtime business partner Henry, which is hella messed up because she was 3 at the time, that time being 1983. And this is the year that Afton's life started going downhill in the worst ways possible. He starts killing off kids and then sticks with that MO throughout the rest of his criminal career. But the fact that his first victim was someone who trusted him, who didn't exactly suspect him even though her father did, is something even I fear. I'm not a parent, so I can only imagine how this must have felt. And if that was me, I'd be doing a lot more than burning down restaurants in an attempt to put that down. I'd be doing it myself, especially if he had killed my daughter when she was only 3 years old. Like, I can feel the rage brewing and I don't even have someone that I could, in theory, make a daughter with. And finally, in at number 1, killed his kids. The worst thing that Afton has done by far is gotten his own kids killed. Sure, he may not have done it directly, but his actions ended up resulting in all 3 of his kids' demises. Him killing Charlotte got Fredbear's closed. which resulted in him having to open up circus babies, which made him have to dust off Baby and the other fun times, which were designed to kill in the first place. Baby ends up grabbing and crushing Elizabeth, resulting in her possessing the animatronic. He superpowered the jaw of the Fredbear animatronic used in the new Freddy Fazbear's, which ends up crushing his youngest son's skull, since that was not a spring lock failure due to all the spring locks being active, since it was in animatronic mode, not suit mode, so there was nothing to fail, meaning that he had to have been crushed by the power of his jaw. And while you could argue that it was Michael's fault, why would he think that Fredbear's mouth was overpowered? As the suit technician, William knew what was going on and intentionally souped up the jaw power. And then he gets Michael killed when he sends him down to find his sister in sister location, which ends up getting him stuffed with innards and then letting himself burn in Pizzeria Simulator. So yeah, William's actions got all 3 of his kids killed just because he had to kill his business partner's daughter. In 10 human masks. Now it's unclear what she does with these human masks, but through the FNAF AR emails we learned that Vanessa, while in her Vanny Persona 5, ended up purchasing 3 realistic human masks. Nobody knows why. There's no idea, okay? It's like, it's never brought up again. But honestly, you gotta admit that that's pretty terrifying no matter what she ended up using them for. Like, maybe they were for realistic humanoid robots, or maybe she wanted to prank people on Omegle where she pretends to be a dude or something. I don't know, but the possibilities are fairly finite but also endless, if you know what I'm saying. Like, there are so many things that she could be doing with those masks that it's impossible to guess, but there's also only so many things that she could be doing with those masks. I mean, like, educated guessing and MatPat both lean towards at least one of the masks being used on Gregory, but this begs the question, where did the other 2 go, or where were they used, or even if they were used at all? Vanessa and Gregory are the only 2 human characters in the game, so like, what's the deal here? Like, just buying them is scary enough, but then does she use them, or does she just like hang them up on her wall? In a 9 bunny suit. Now, making the suit itself isn't scary, okay? People do it all the time. Hell, I've made a couple costumes myself. Or at least helped with their creation. But I mean, like, they weren't furry suits. But the creation of the bunny suit itself isn't the scary part, okay? The scary part is why she made the suit. The implications and the reasoning behind it. She made the costume because William kind of forced her hand while he was taking over, threatening her if she didn't comply. And the suit was made to turn children into corpses. So, I mean, like, it's pretty horrifying to think about. It's like what the suit was made for specifically. Maybe the original spring bodysuit wasn't made for that and just ended up becoming that kind of suit, but this suit was specifically designed with this in mind. Same thing could be said for the glitch trap suit, but it's not like a physical suit that can be worn. It's a digital manifestation that Afton merely took control of and in essence made a copy of so that he'd have a vessel in the game world. But like, this is an actual costume that was made with the express purpose of getting close to kids and then offing them and doing experiments with cadavers. So yeah, pretty terrifying, not to mention the whole furry implication thing. In an 8 corrupt fun time service. Now, while Gregory might be the culprit behind the FNAF security breach animatronics going haywire according to some theories, the corrupt animatronics from FNAF AR are an entirely different story. These are most likely caused by Vanny, as she was trying to find a new host for Afton using the special delivery animatronics. However, when that didn't work out, they figured that they needed his old vessel to actually return, which would explain the whole moving to the FNAF 6 location thing. However, her corrupting these animatronics directly results in even more deaths at the hands of Fazbear Entertainment, which is a whole other issue that I don't understand how their world hasn't addressed yet. Like, get the cops investigating, or someone hire a private investigator, please, for the love of God. Like, someone has to be suspicious about what's going on here, right? Like, Fazbear Entertainment is sus as hell. They clearly vented. I was on cams, I saw it. Fred is sus. And it's 7 stored his daughter. While we know Afton isn't the best father, I think it's something else to end up locking your robot possessed by the soul of your dead daughter into an animatronic testing facility. That seems a bit too far if you ask for my humble opinion. But nevertheless, he still did it, and that's what Sister Location is all about. And William was even the one who sent us as Michael down there in the first place, and then we get shoved full of innard bits so that they can escape. Did William know about that plan? Unsure, because like in FNAF 6, Baby says that she'll make her dad proud. So was that William's intention to like send us down there so Baby could get out? And if that was the case, why lock her down in there in the first place? I mean, like, if she was your daughter, why not have her just like chill around the house, right? Like in the books, Baby is able to transform between Baby and like a human looking animatronic at will. So why not add this to that version, and then you can have your daughter back, albeit a little more messed up. But like more like you in the long run, right? I don't know. This family is messed the hell up, and Nothing makes sense. In its 6th, survived. Not only was she playing with her food the entire game, only appearing a couple of times despite being heavily featured in the promotions, she didn't end up dying at the end of the game like we all thought would happen. Well, at least she hasn't officially died as of yet. With her not being present in the cave during the canon true ending, we have no idea where she was or even how much of the Pizzaplex was affected. If she was in the section that collapsed, presumably Roxy's Raceway, then she'd probably be dead. Or if the entire Pizzaplex collapsed, she might be dead. But those are only possibilities. Since we don't know what really happened while we're just chilling on a hill with Freddy, it was left obscure on purpose, because not only is this FNAF, but also because whoever's taking over next can go in any direction based on how they saw the ending. Vanny could have died, or she could have survived. Afton could have been killed by the blob, or it could have been saved by it. It's anyone's guess, which means that Vanny's ending is the most obscure. Great. Halfway through into number 5, impress daddy. Along the same note of, oh, I wanted that arm in case I needed to sever anybody's body parts or something, we know that's why she has it and not for self-defense. Before Henry cuts her off during the true ending to the game though, Baby goes on a bit of a rant thinking that she won. Quote, "You played right into our hands. Did you really think this job just fell out of the sky for you? No, it was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place, just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy. Watch, listen, and be full." Does that sound like someone who wanted to be saved? No, she wants to impress her father, someone she knows was behind her death and then every death after hers. She wants to kill for her father. And this lines up with so many other versions of her as well. Like I said earlier, the Afton Amalgam, she ended up fighting with her father until she knew the battle was lost. However, she didn't stop trying to impress him. And the same remains true here. It's messed up, okay? A little girl getting killed accidentally only for her to want to join her father's crusade? That's messed up. And at 4, destroyed Freddy. Both the Phaser Blast and the Princess Quest endings both require you to have gone through the Phaser Blast section of the map, since you need to discover Vanny's secret room. Without the Princess Quest machines active though, you are unable to play the third one, so you just end up enacting vigilante justice against Vanny. How do you do this, you ask? With these same robots she ordered to disassemble Freddy, which ends up making a group of staff bots literally tear Freddy limb from limb. Basically. He keeps his limbs, but his insides are absolutely destroyed. Like me when I was eating too much Taco Bell after a night of heavy drinking. His insides are torn apart, and the only way he can survive is by you bringing his head with you, okay? I said in another video that it's a whole other can of worms, and it is, but she still disassembles Freddy, which apparently to Gregory is enough justification to order the robots to absolutely tear this woman to shreds. So there's so little left of her, but we don't even try to unmask her. Probably because that little monster doesn't want to see the human face behind the person he just actually tore apart, but still. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, stuffed. One of the most deranged things that William Afton did was stuff the bodies of the original 5 missing children into the original 5 animatronics. Bonnie, Foxy, Freddy, Chica, and Golden Freddy. And the craziest part is that he didn't get caught for it. Yeah, he didn't. The animatronics smelt like death, started leaking blood and other fluids, and the police didn't bat an eye. He put these bodies in animatronics that perform for other kids and their parents every single day. How does anyone think that that's a good idea? Unless it was his way of displaying his kills or something, like some of the crime shows like to mention. How some killers enjoy the world knowing what they did, since it helps them feel more powerful or something. Fuels their ego. Like maybe even if they didn't know that the bodies were there, William could be using that as an ego boost, which is messed up. And also ruins the whole he did it because his kids were dying theory, aside from the whole him killing before his kids died thing. Also, how did the police not confiscate the animatronics for evidence? Penultimately, in at number 2, missing kids. So, with so many Fazbear locations having kids go missing, you'd think that they go out of business. But maybe every parent feels like they have something to prove, so they risk their kids' lives so that when all is said and done, they can go home and flex on the other parents at the weekly book club meeting, saying their kids survived the trip to Freddy Fazbear's. Because of them, of course. But no matter the reason, at least 9 kids have once again gone missing in the newest Fazbear location, resulting in multiple complaints points, but as we see in the opening cutscene where Freddy glitches out, still a full house. We don't exactly know what happened to these kids, however we can assume that those kids were in fact made into corpses, perhaps to restore Afton to full strength, which ultimately didn't work. Or maybe it was just like to power the entire Pizzaplex. Maybe they needed like a sacrifice a month in order to be able to recharge all the animatronics, like an even more messed up version of Monsters Inc. Either way, at least 9 kids have gone missing thanks to Vanny, and as we see in the worst ending, maybe 10. And finally, in at number 1, Resurrected Afton. The scariest thing that Vanny did from any standpoint in this series is resurrecting Afton. Okay, from an in-universe perspective, she just brought back Earth's seemingly most prolific killer. From a story perspective, it kind of comes out of nowhere and feels forced. In a game sense, he just looks terrifying and sends all the broken animatronics after us, and lore-wise as well, because William Afton is back. However, he's not entirely back, considering how this version is actually finally dead, however only functional because of the coded version of Afton's consciousness. We all figured Afton was going to come back this time around, and understandably so, with the first trailer featuring the arm that every YouTuber milked for as long as they could. Us absolutely included, are you kidding me? Daily FNAF videos? This cow has been milked dry, but we're still going for it. PETA hates us. However, actually alive again or not, this is the scariest thing that she's done in many ways. And now it's canon in the universe that people can turn into sentient code that can then be uploaded into animatronics, which is a whole other can of worms that I don't want to deal with today. And at 10, Crushed Elizabeth. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Some specific kids make me understand William's whole MO, but the fact that he made these robots, especially the Fun Times, specifically to kill, and the first kid they kill is his own daughter. That's some serious karma, man. But considering how horrific Baby becomes after this thanks to Elizabeth, I feel like she might have had it coming, okay? Girl was a lot more like her father than she really should have been, honestly. Well, yes, crushing any kid would have been bad, but like, your creator's daughter? Seriously? Like, why was there no blacklist for kids that you shouldn't grab? Like, you have animatronics that can walk on their own, advanced AI, facial recognition technology, but you can't make a goddamn program that says, do not kill these kids, they come from my loins? Like, bro, if you ask me, you had it coming. Like, who tells their kids not to do something and then actually expects them to listen? Especially when it was built to attract and lure kids. And when they're that young. Like, seriously, William is stupid. But this was still a messed up thing for Baby to do. And this is why she's more so Afton's creation than the other ones, because she's literally also his kid. And at 9, Fought Ennard. FNAF 5 to 6 had some serious changes. Baby went from being a part of Ennard in FNAF 5 to her own separate animatronic again, with seemingly no explanation in FNAF 6. Well, no explanation if you're not really a FNAF fan, since we all know that the interaction that caused this unfortunate split actually took place within the source code of Scott Cawthon's websites, where the two, ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com, were arguing, which resulted in Baby getting voted off the island. But honestly, thinking about it, this was a pretty dumb idea for her. Like, it seems that Molten Freddy is the one controlling the Blob from FNAF Security Breach, since they're the face that the Blob prefers to use to jump scare the player and interact with Afton, even though it's more Funtime Freddy and not Molten Freddy. But we also know that Molten Freddy is just the remains of Ennard after Baby got kicked out, hence why it dropped the whole clown aesthetic. It's also worth noting that Baby's face is on the Blob, except it's missing the red light in its eyes, meaning that its soul is probably not contained within the animatronic amalgam. So if Baby had stayed a part of Ennard, she might still be fighting. Of course, we can't be certain that she's not possessing something else, but we can't be sure that she is either. And at 8, Afton Amalgam. One of the biggest twists from the Fazbear Frights book's epilogue stories is that they end up fighting a giant trash rabbit known as the Afton Amalgam. Yeah, but then a mysterious black blob is revealed to be behind everything. This blob was controlled by Baby, or I guess Elizabeth. Either way, at this point, it's the same thing. I'm guessing this reveal was originally intended to happen after Security Breach was released, given the original release date of the game, which would have made this much more rewarding and an actual, like, big reveal, but Baby was literally revealed to be controlling a version of her father, the man who got her killed by creating a robot designed to kill, the man who killed her brother in the same way, who killed 5 additional kids, at least, who wanted to bring her brother back as an animatronic. She controlled a version of him and still wanted to make him proud. At least she ended up abandoning him, but not for any moral reasons, but because she knew that the battle was lost and wanted to live to fight another day. Okay, well I say live, but in reality just she didn't want to be destroyed since she's dead and possessing stuff. She's not really alive, but like, you know what I mean, okay? And it's 7, taunting. Now, being a killer is one thing, but when you're so sadistic that you end up taunting the various characters or people, that's when it ends up getting scarier. And Vanny certainly does this. Whether it's her on the sound system, her popping up on the TV, or her joyfully skipping down towards us until she's close enough to dash. She's playing with us like we're a pet on a farm before she ultimately puts us down so the family can have dinner. Like, come on. There's no way that she's just like that, especially with Afton being the one who's controlling her. He essentially is just making this another version of himself. So yeah, her taunting us, her playing with her food is some of the freakiest crap in this game. Like, imagine if Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy was coming after you and they were just like skipping down the street in the middle of the night being lit by lamp posts. That's basically what this is. Actually, based on Supernatural's depiction, this is exactly how Gacy would have acted, but like either way, it's still creepy as hell. And at 6, scrapped. While she did end up fighting the rest of Ennard and getting kicked out, resulting in the creation of Molten Freddy, she also ended up having to remake herself, or at least give herself another shell, as well as seemingly another arm, since you know, now we see a giant claw on her left arm. However, you want to know something interesting? According to the Freddy Files Updated Edition, the Bible of the FNAF franchise basically, the claw on her left arm is the same one from her stomach, meaning that Elizabeth knowingly attached the claw that resulted in her death to her arm. And that's absolutely terrifying. Like, this chick is like, yeah, this thing killed me, so let's put it on my arm so I have better access to it. You know, just in case I need to use it for whatever reason. So yeah, this laced up her sneakers, thought, oh, what if I need to kill someone today? And said might as well claw them to death with this monstrosity that killed me. Do you people not realize how absolutely nuts that is? Like, that's... bro. Halfway through into number 5, Vanessa. Possessing Vanessa was certainly one of the more messed up things that William did. It just sounds weird, you know? Like this guy pops up into your VR headset, then takes over your body without your consent, so now you end up killing for him. That's kind of messed up. Actually, no, not kind of, that's incredibly messed up. I mean, she knows what's going on too. She actively talks in hushed tones about how she can't talk about it to her therapist. So like, what the hell is the dynamic here? I mean, possessing someone is already pretty messed up, but then causing them to make a rabbit costume so you're still a furry is a whole other set of kinks that I don't even want to talk about. And then she knows that there's an evil inside her, but she can't do anything about it. She fears for her life, which only makes me wonder what William has been saying to her. And she's now, with full knowledge of her darker half, willing to lock a kid in a lost and found room until the police arrive, despite never calling the police, and then lets that darker half track him down. And at 4, killed technicians. The technicians were 2 employees of Fazbear Entertainment Inc., who used to work with the Funtime animatronics of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. One technician is soft-spoken and seems bored with his job, implying that he may be used to it, while the other, who speaks with using a Brooklyn accent, appears to be less experienced and more uneasy with the environment of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental from FNAF's sister location. Same. The 2 technicians appear for the first time during night 4 when they use the scooper on Ballora, and then during night 5, their dead bodies are seen hanging in the Ballora Gallery and the Funtime Auditorium. They are assumed to have been killed by Baby and the gang, which sounds like a really weird band. However, there is also the theory that they've been dead for a while, or aren't even real, and Baby was just mimicking their voices so that she could manipulate the situation for you to trust her. However, I mean, these are like the first people aside from ourselves and any 8-bit minigames where we've actually seen someone die. Like, every dead body that we've seen has been pixelated in a minigame up until this point, and they are also the first humans in all of FNAF to get their full bodies shown, even if it was through a shadow. But I don't know. Do you think that these were real or were they dummies? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. And at 3, Gets Us. The worst ending is called that for a reason. Available no matter what you do at the Pizzaplex, the worst ending is where you just leave the Pizzaplex out the front door, not a care in the world. But the reason it's the worst ending isn't because the kids are still going missing or because Gregory didn't steal Freddy like the thief he truly is. It's because Vanny ends up getting to Gregory when he's sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. But as we fall asleep using the newspaper as the most inefficient blanket ever, like bro, it's not even covering half your body, just turn it 90 degrees. freeze and actually not freeze to death, you moron. Anyway, as we're sleeping, we see Vanny's shadow pull up on us. However, she isn't carrying a knife or anything, so she may not be there to kill us and instead take us back to the pizza place in an effort to maybe reunite us with our father or something similar. It's just kind of messed up knowing that she does end up getting us on another Earth, though. At least it's not the main Earth, though. Right? Penultimately, in at number 2, saved William. Assuming that Baby is in control of the blob like she is in the Fazbear Frights books, did she save Afton in the security breach true ending? While this ending was left vague for sequel purposes, I think it's not out of the question, especially since a load of people still want Afton to be alive for some reason. Like, why can't you just let the man die off permanently and then go rot in hell? Okay, like for real though. Ultimate Custom Night was supposed to be a form of hell, but not like actual hell. Like it was supposed to be in eternal agony brought on by the vengeful spirit, but it wasn't actual hell. This man needs to suffer for his actions, okay? Even Satan would be appalled by this dude's crimes. Like gluttony, lust, greed. You do those things, you go downstairs a legend. But just offing a bunch of kids because you wanted to, and then discovering that it could make you immortal is just hella messed up. Like I've said that Satan wouldn't have approved of many things, particularly a load of versions of spiders from video games. But Satan wouldn't even like this guy, okay? Just like toss him in the empty or something, and he'd let him be alone forever. Something like that. Like goddamn. And then Baby saves this man? The man who got her killed? Yeah, that's definitely one of the worst things she's done, even like especially to her own psyche. And finally, in at number 1, Betrayal. Top 10 worst anime betrayals, but it's FNAF. In Sister Location, we thought that we actually had the first nice animatronic, like basically a prototype for Glamrock Freddy. Baby was giving us tips on how to survive, she helped us get through Belora's gallery, she really seemed like she wanted us to live. But then, what do we get for trusting her? Scooped and stuffed, just like a Thanksgiving turkey. This was probably one of the most brutal things to happen to a character in the entire series, and it's all because we trusted Baby. She made us feel safe, she gave us confidence, she prevented us from getting killed, only to use our body as a skin suit, and then get kicked out of Ennard not even a game later. This is why I didn't trust Glamrock Freddy. Baby is legit one of the reasons that I have trust issues, and that's saying something. Like, holy damn. Okay, I could have sworn that Glamrock Freddy was going to do the exact same thing. Then, like, he would lead us down to Afton and then pull like a psych, I've been working for this bag the whole time, motherfucker, time to die. But he didn't. However, thanks to Baby, I still think that this man is doing a long con.